Hello, everybody. Today we are interacting with two of the top leaders in digital sector of two of the top companies uh, which are from India, headquartered in India, but doing wonders across the world. Today, I am very happy to welcome our panelists for this session. I welcome Mr. Jayanta Banerjee, the Group CIO of Tata Steel Limited. Welcome, Mr. Jayanta.
Thank you.
And yes, and I also welcome Mr. Ashwin Prajapati, the Chief Information Officer of Symphony Limited. Welcome, Mr. Ashwin.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so this panel discussion is on a very important topic and a very burning topic in today's times, and which is Atmanirbhar Bharat. So in these COVID times, when even the world is facing this COVID-19 pandemic crisis, similar with India. So at that time, our Prime Minister has given a program or sort of a mission of Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the discussion is on that will this program be reshaping the Indian manufacturing sector also. So we have two giants with us of manufacturing sector from India. So it will be great to know from them and to discuss with them how Atmanirbhar Bharat can reshape the Indian manufacturing sector. So my first question will be from Mr. Jayanta. Mr. Jayanta, I would like to ask the same thing from you, that you know about this Atmanirbhar Bharat mission. Self-reliance is being now the need of hour, mentioned by our Prime Minister, and also the country is following it. So I would like to ask you that as many people say that maybe Make in India was not that a good success, but this Atmanirbhar Bharat can be a better success than Make in India. So what is your view on that, on India being self-reliant, especially in terms of manufacturing sector and especially in terms of digital format? So please, your views, Mr. Jayanta.
Yeah. No, thanks. Not to draw any comparative between both initiatives or any initiative for that matter. But Atmanirbhar Bharat or any self-reliance, fundamentally, if you look at it in my view, is dependent on two aspects. One is that an individual, in this case a citizen, an individual or a group, a corporate or anybody, a country, to be able to take decisions on their own. That is one fundamental, if you just go down to the bottom of it. The second aspect is that once you have taken a decision, the access to the means to execute on that decision. These are two fundamental aspects of self-reliance, if you just really look at Atmanirbhar. Now today that is possible because the ability to take decision has enhanced multifold because of availability of data. If you look around today in the digital economy and the digital world, today there is so much of data that we are dealing with, so much of information that we have. Now, if we have access to the right information at the right point in time, and with the right analytics, if you will, we will be able to have a much more informed decision than if it is not there. That is the first part. The second part of it is with obviously the investments that have already started showing up on the digital India side, that there is a lot of application, there is a lot of integration, there is a lot of focus on the ease of use when you go into a particular portal or a particular application. This whole application is something that is very important, and integration will be a very key aspect. So, and if you even go down further, the investments in connectivity has to be enormous investment in connectivity, right? So the whole focus on digital has to be built on how fast and how well you are building the infrastructure. How are you connecting? How are you securing that connection and the data? That is a cyber security. And then how are you creating apps and application on top of it so that things are integrated and the usability is very, very easy. And then you can access into those applications to do what you want to do. So this whole aspect of availability of data at the right time and the availability of the right applications on top of it secured, that is very critical, and that is happening with the investments that are there. And I think substantial investment needs to happen. And mostly in the rural sector, I think there is a lot of connectivity and all the stuff that needs to go in. As I always say, that you should not build cars where there are no roads. You should build roads instead, right? And that is where I
Right.
think we have to make the right investment, focus on the infrastructure, and then automatically the other things will follow.
Right. So, right investment and focus on infrastructure and availability of data. I think you focused on right points. Ashwin, I would like to know from you, how do you see this concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat from your point of view?
Yeah, agreed to Jayanta what he was speaking, that Atmanirbhar Bharat and digital transformation, both things, if you see, it goes hands to hands. Because, see, we have been talking about digital transformation and buzz of digital transformation uh, since last couple of years. But what we are finding that, that today's time or today uh, when any see why digital transformation was not so successful in past, because the as you say, ease of doing business, or available technology, or available right talent. Now you see, when you talk about digital transformation, you have a right pen talent with you, you have a right infra with you. So it is a question, it's a question of motivating people to adopt or to start digital transformation, digital or technology, today. uh, because if you recently see couple of last 2 years of time, now most of the things on comes on app. Like if you want today, you know even starting from morning milk to the dinner, you all your functions you can manage through the technology, or so that way what I would say that now when it comes to Atma Nirbhar Bharat, it is more like how is we are providing to start any to start this transformation. As Jayanta said rightly, if you see today, uh, we are talking about connecting many remote village through fibers. Now this is the point where once they start connecting, or once this infra is built, in that much time of time, this the digital transformation would go. So this is the right time, and right technology is available. World is moving towards it. So now it is more like our people, we also have to start thinking that how we can adopt digital transformation. In past it was more like we tried, but at the same time it was happening like said it was more too capital intensive also. If you see in past, when we talk about digital transformation, people used to tell what I get, what is my payback, what is my TCO, what ROI I will get. And due to that, this was not happening. It was all remain on paper. But today, now if you go to the any industry, they all start talking about digital transformation, and people realize if they wanted to be in a business, they have to adopt technology. They cannot, they whatever products in you are, you cannot stay in silo. You have to adopt the latest technology. You have to adopt the digital technology, because data is a key to take any business, the right decision. You need a data, and data only comes when there is a point to collect the data.
Right, right. So, yeah, rightly mentioned. So, we will let's talk about this COVID-19 pandemic, which has it's been there across the world, in India also. So, as a CIO, do you see now a new playground for yourself uh, after COVID-19? Because the IT buying, the IT implementation, or automation, I think it can have a major impact on all these things. So, how do you see the digital transformation after COVID-19? Jayanta, I would like to ask you first. What is your say in this?
See, as I again say that we didn't need a COVID to prove that digital is the way to go. So we never needed it, but it happened to be that COVID has been a great accelerator of digital adoption across industries and across the globe. it is like the constraint, and so necessity becomes the mother of invention, and the constraint has driven the transformation and much faster than otherwise it was picking up. So, as Ashwin also said, that the investments that are needed in infrastructure that I spoke about, and he talked about the investments and the ROI, those questions and the criticism and the business cases that needs to be approved was a major focus pre-COVID days, right? There was a lot of effort that this needs to be done, and there's a lot of money, a lot of investment that you need to put in to create the infrastructure. It is not only the fiber layout, it is also the cyber security, because once you put data in motion, you have to secure that, right? It is extremely important to focus on cyber security, otherwise you will get hacked very easily. And then the whole cloud, the strategy, right? You cannot be remaining on-prem, and you can, but there is a choice. But cloud will bring in the agility. Cloud will bring in the anytime, anyhow, anywhere computing, right? All those investments are pretty capital intensive, right? And then the whole application integration, and then the we can keep on talking about it. All those required a lot of effort, lot of convincing, lot of internal selling, and sometimes there was a question that is this investment all required, right? That question would have been there, and I think Ashwin also mentioned about it. Post-COVID, suddenly you find in a situation where, as Tata Steel, we have seen, we just seamlessly started working from home without any hiccups, because we as a company decided to make those investments, heavy investments we made. We made serious investments in infrastructure, in bandwidth, serious investments in cybersecurity, very high investments in cloud. We moved almost all the addressable space that we wanted to move from on-prem to cloud. So we had an anytime, anywhere computing platform already ready pre-COVID. But users would never realize the value of it unless COVID happened and everybody was stuck in their home, and suddenly they say you don't have to do anything. You're still accessing the same SAP. You are able to transact sitting at home. You are able to run your plants. You are able to look at all the camera imaging. We had a lot of investments on the imaging, the cameras and all that stuff, and the analytics thereof. And you can able to see the operations remotely. So we can go on and on. So that ROI, now people actually say the investments have been more than remunerative. So that is one aspect of COVID which has accelerated the adoption, right? And the appreciation, more than adoption, the appreciation that with this investment was required. So that is point one. Point two, what COVID as a constraint is doing to the industry and to the country as a whole and to the globe as a whole is moving people from on-site to off-site. And if you look at the India manufacturing sector, we are very labor intensive. There's a lot of workmen in our plant, right? So the full fact that the people have to come to work, they work and toil on the machines in the day, and they go back. So that whole aspect is now being challenged. Do we need all that people to come to work every day in the morning, or they can do it from somewhere, some other place, right? That is one aspect. So, and do we need all the supervision and everything at on-site, or can we also look at a command center, a virtual command center sitting at home, and still take the right decisions? Look at the image from home, from anywhere for that matter, and take the right decisions. So the work should move from on-site to off-site is another transition that we are seeing. The third aspect is the nature of work itself would change going forward, right? What can be done remotely should be done remotely, right? It has a safety aspect, because if you don't have so many people working on-site, you also increase the safety index of the company and the operations, right? So there are many positive ramifications that also come out of this crisis, and that is where I think all the organizations are kind of thinking that whether we should go back to the old normal, or we should adopt the new normal. And the question is how fast you will adopt the new normal, rather than again once things settle down a bit and you go back to the old thing. Then I would say that as a big crisis got wasted. That is the way I would like to put it, right? No crisis should be wasted. We are going to horrific times dealing with COVID. Now, though, if we can extract something good out of it, we should all try to take some good out of it. So that is where it is. And in Tata Steel, we have an entire digital response to COVID. I'll talk about it when you allow me at a later point in time. But the point is, I am seeing COVID as a fantastic accelerator. I do not, as an individual, do not want to go back to the old normal. Rather push, and would be very happy to see if people settle down with the new normal. The new normal may not be 100% working from home. It should be somewhere in between. And it will also give a push, in my personal view, a huge push to the labor sector and the rural sector, because with the point that Ashwin also mentioned with the connectivity, and if you can give access to data, we can reuse the skill that is there remotely rather than having all the skills coming on site and doing something, right? We have to retrain, we have to reskill, we have to repurpose. As I go back and see, all of us learn to drive the car without turning ourselves and looking behind, but looking at the display, we can reverse our car, right? It's the same thing. Can we not operate a crane also that way, right? So why do the crane driver need to? And it is an unsafe condition. So automation, analytics, digital, camera imaging, these are the things that are really helping us in COVID and should continue to help us in adoption of digital in a big way.
Right, Mr. Jayanta. Ashwin, I would like to ask Mr. Ashwin that what do you see the scenario? Do you see yourself more empowered in internal selling, or do you see, or you see that okay, no, it will be back to the normal, to the old normal after some time, or you see that it's going to be there, as Mr. Jayanta said that crisis should not be wasted. So, what do you see? Will it be there for forever, or you think it's just a momentary thing and it will go away? The new way of dealing with technology, COVID-19.
Uh, yes. So, what will happen? Like, this situation definitely will improve, and that we hope and we pray that start of the as early as possible. Uh, COVID won't be there, but these new norms, what we have established, these norms is going to be stayed, because this has given, see, as Jayanta rightly says, necessity is a mother of invention. So what happens, like,
Yes.
this crisis has
Yeah.
given us all those insight that yes, you can conduct the meeting without in praise being in person. You can have a conferences. You can run your business as usual. Like, if you are in manufacturing still, some of the department or some of the functions, you have people have to be there. But like, if you are into the service industries, like if you are in consulting, let's say, for those industries, this is going to be a new norm. Like, it may happen that people won't go to the office and they continue to work. Like, if I take example of IBM or those type of tier 1 or tier 2 IT consulting company, for them, why to waste money on infrastructure? They can very well deliver the same or more. I would say sometimes the efficiency will be more when you are working remotely. There won't be much distraction and all. So for some of the industries, definitely the productivity will also enhance. However, these are the new norms. I always say that, like, like for education also. Let's say, did you be ever imagine that we will have a online classes, online exams? Similarly, for organization also, it will happen that these new norms is going to be stayed. These norms will not see, and people will be like, wherever there will be a technology disruption, like maybe what I can do, I may go and invest into bots, and these bots will do the same function, which probably today, I require people to be in office and do the work. So ideally, so this innovation, like as I say, call center, that one another example, I may go for a technology where it is like speech to text. Someone will call for a customer complaint, and the software will convert into the customer complaint. I don't need a people. So, this type of ideas, this type of invention, priorly also it was there. I'm not saying it was not there, but now it is a time that you can very well sell internally, and and you can adopt also, because like, recently, one lighter side, one of my relatives marriage was on Zoom. So, and this Zoom, they have invited 15 people, and 15 people joined on a Zoom for attending that one marriage. So what I'm telling you, that this is going to, the new norms is going to stay. These norms will not disappear. Maybe the things will be normal. It will, but these norms will be staying, definitely going to stay. Company will start thinking what are the essential people have to. be in office, desktop can be managed remotely or not. So this is going to stay.
Okay, so
I
here
especially
we
like the
definitely
comment.
understand. Yes,
Sorry, I especially
yes,
like the
yes.
comment that Ashwin made on the marriage. And see, this is how humans adapt, right? So today I am seeing more meetings and more efficient meetings. We start the meeting on time, we finish the meeting on time. We don't spend
Yes.
unnecessary time in commuting. We have become actually more productive, right? That is one aspect of it. The collaboration has improved. Yeah, there are also some other shortcomings that you might say you are missing that physical interaction and all that
Connect.
stuff. If the culture aspect, you can debate on that. But I think it is somewhere we will settle down. And closer to the new normal is better in my view than going all the way back and with the crisis. Yeah.
That is definitely actually those who are actually working are those who believe in work are feeling more empowered and more they are getting more efficiency in their work, that I have realized talking to people. But let's talk about the manufacturing sector. We all know that after this discussion, it is also clear that a CIO's role has become bigger now. Technology's role has become bigger now. Technology buying has become bigger, and automation and transformation towards technology is more now. So, while if I see, I may be wrong in figures, but that 17 to 18% value added, the market share is of manufacturing sector. I think it adds 17 to 18% of total production of the country. Do you think that there should be more now digital transformation in manufacturing sector, or after COVID-19, how do you think can it be improved? There will be more share of manufacturing sector in country's production, and how to go about it, and how will it happen if it needs to happen, and especially by using IT. Jayant, I would like to take your views on this. Uh,
So see, Industry 4.0 is already there. It was pre-COVID, it was there. It is not that something new Industry 4.0 has happened post-COVID. So Industry 4.0 addresses exactly this, right? That today, using technology and manufacturing sector has been a late adopter of digital technology. They have been using a lot of technology otherwise, but the digital technology is something has been a late adoption in this sector. But what has happened? If you look at, say, I can talk about Tata Steel. We have also been recognized as the two of our sites as lighthouse in the World Economic Forum, right? So we are doing a lot of investment in this area, a lot of investment. But fundamentally, I like to highlight that what is going to happen in the core manufacturing sector, where the production is happening, or the supply chain and logistics, or the marketing and sales of today, as a company, and we are also seeing other companies doing this. We are selling steel and steel products online. We never thought about it
yeah.
10 years back or 5 years back, but we're doing it in the last 2 years, right? So we create a platform, and we are actually we have an individual house builder platform where we help individuals buy build houses, and in order to do that, whatever the need is, we provide the render the help in one portal, and we are able to sell through that portal. We are able to connect to the distributors through the online channel, right? So the online channel for steel, for in this sector or any other manufacturing sector, is something that is picking up, which was never thought about. Second aspect, the entire logistics and supply chain, if you look at, it is a digital play. At the end of the day, you know what is the chemistry that goes into producing iron and steel. So that mix can be digitally, with artificial intelligence and analytics, managed better than left it to human, where human error comes in. So optimization algorithms can help do that. Second is that where should we produce and where should we pick up the material from? That's a optimization algorithm again, right? And then shipping, logistics, and all that transportation, that is again an optimization algorithm, right? At the end of the day, this algorithm is actually taking up the entire transformation responsibility, right? And that is applicable in Industry 4.0. So that is another area. The core production with the use of robotics and AI. So many models we are creating, right? No human can go and touch the molten iron. So that is, it was never the case and will never be the case. So if that is the case, instead of a human eye going closer and looking at it from some distance, why doesn't the camera look at it? That is what is the simple transformation. The camera looks at it, and the image analytics run on it and help you take much more informed decision than otherwise would have been possible. Right? So those things are really helping. The core point that I see as a much more investment required is in the ecosystem of sensors. Sensorization as a subject is something that I feel that we are lacking in the country as a technology. Still, there is a lot of investment. Lot of companies are doing a lot of work in there. A lot of investment is there, but still, I think the technology itself will evolve over the next 3 to 4 to 5 years because and it has to be commercially also viable because all that we are saying, whether it is a remotely tracking people or it is remotely tracking the vehicles, remotely tracking the loading patterns, unloading patterns, or remotely tracking equipment, measuring the vitals, and then taking decision. That is the whole cycle, putting it very simplistically. It requires sensors which can withstand certain pressure, certain temperatures, certain dust, certain harsh conditions, and all that, right? And also, it should be commercially viable. That technology has to evolve further. Today, possibly, we are still either the cost is very high or the technology is not that sophisticated. We are kind of working to that challenge. Until that becomes very technologically advanced and easily available at a lower price point, these algorithms will be there, but it will not yield the ROI to Ashwin's initial point. And then if the return on investment is not there, the investments will not pan out, right? So that is there. The COVID, we are already seen in COVID many of the sensor technology at work, and I will talk about it a little later. But that is my view. The industry 4.0, in my view, there are two most important tenets. One is the sensor, and the whole ecosystem around it. And the second is the reskilling of people skills. People are operating machines today. The same worker should be operating machine, but in a different way. The job is not going to go away, but the nature of the job is going to change. That is a very important point because you need to then operate the machine, but you will look at a panel and operate. You will use a joystick to operate rather than using muscles, right? So that is very important, and that skill will bring in more safety. But it all the technology has to come in, and the worker will be much more skilled. But in order to do that, we need connectivity. We need to reach out to the rural sectors. We need to make those investments, putting all the training programs. The whole platform, the whole ecosystem has to develop. Yeah, that's the
Right. So great to know from you that in a steel sector, a comparatively a tougher sector, there the digital transformation is you are doing digital transformation in a bigger way. So, Mr. Ashwin, I would like to ask you, you are into electronics manufacturing, right? So coolers you deal with Symphony worldwide. So, what is the impact of Industry 4.0 on your electronics manufacturing? There are some outcomes Jayanta has shared. What do you think about Industry 4.0 in your business? Um,
Sure. So, see, Industry 4.0, when you talks about the white good in manufacturing industries or, any consumer industries, the key is a supply chain. So, supply chain automation is going to be a key because you get the parts to be assemble or manufacture and assemble. So, here the critically supply chain JIT, just real implementation of JIT just in time. And the second will be like using technology not only for better productivity and also for quality, because this just in time along with the the quality is also very important. So quality again, when you go for a automation or when you go for a real time testing, then the quality of parts or goods what you manufacture also will is definitely better than what you have with the manual systems. So the idea is that when you go to industry 4.0, it is very important to adopt the new technology, adopt and also the more important part is the change management, which was not touched so far. So it is more like the unlearn the current what the way you are doing the things and relearn. Otherwise again, if we have a real, if we have best technology, if you have a best infra, but same time if you don't have a people who can adopt the change management, then also this will collapse. So the important is that when you go for industry 4.0, it is very important that you invest into the training, change management, and So otherwise again it will be like you won't get the result what you expect uh, out of the investment. So two part is clear, very much covered by Jayanta, but the change management, training, these are also people. So we have to invest into people also when you wanted to use their technology, because
Right.
this is also very much important part. The people part is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. The reskilling and the
Yes,
repurpose, so the
yes.
retraining that you have to impart to the people, it's absolutely key.
It is more like a unlearn and learn the new things. So to learn the new things, you have to first unlearn,
So,
and
so
and when you have,
I
yes,
think unlearning, how difficult unlearning can be. I would like to know, because okay, reskilling and relearning is fine, people, but unlearning is difficult, I think.
Very difficult.
very
Very difficult.
difficult,
That is
very
what in the
difficult.
morning we were having a discussion. So the point is that it is also the willingness to unlearn is the first challenge. Once you are willing to
Yes,
unlearn, unlearning is easy to some extent,
yes,
relatively.
yes,
But the willingness doesn't. So I know the best, and this is how it works. Why to do that, right? The adoption is a big challenge. It's a big challenge because it is habit. You are used to in a certain way, and
yes.
you know it works. Why to take a risk? And once you are doing it for so many decades, it becomes difficult to give up the habit, right? So
And second, when you have been doing the things the certain way, what happens like, you start believing that this is only the best way, and this is the way I have got the success, and this is the way it has to
Yes.
be. And now it is very difficult to, wipe it everything and rewrite the new things. So, but yes, but this is the one area where really people have to invest, like, but same time when you see the example of like this WhatsApp, Facebook and all, almost using it irrespective of any age said. So similarly when it comes to the professional life also, it is like we have to really assess the profile of individual, identify the training need, give him a right type of training, then all these investment will have a real ROI.
right. Yeah. So we have seen, I would like to offer that if you see that how the new gadgets are being used, right? You give it to your kid, they just pick it up in a few minutes. And but if you give it to an elderly person, we have taken much more time to kind of get adapted. And we first question, what is this? It is better to write on a piece of paper, but it has taken that thing. So I think with the
Yeah,
new
yeah.
generation, and that will also change because the way to accept change is also much higher as you go to the younger generation, and that is the future.
So,
Right. Yeah,
Jayanta,
maybe one
I would also
one day
like.
to you.
Yes, yes, please,
Yeah.
please, 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 please.
No, it's go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes.
No, I
Okay.
one point is
I
like we need to have a right balance of the. Sorry.
Please, Ashwin, please say.
Go ahead, Kartik.
Okay. I would like to ask you, Jayanta, that okay, we can see that yes, there is more surge to IT, but what have been the challenges? If you can just after if you take COVID-19, what are the challenges you are facing now in operations in as a CIO? Can you or there are no challenges?
Yeah. The challenges will always be there, but let me talk about the advantages that we could create and the response
Yes,
mechanism
please,
to COVID-19, and then I will also
please,
bring out
please,
some of the challenges. See, the first thing
please.
is that I talked about the anytime, anywhere compute platform that we are invested in, and the investments have been more than remunerative in the current situation because
Yeah.
we just seamlessly moved. There was not even a single glitch, right? Though there has been a lot of back-end activity that will always be there. It's like the duck paddling very hard in the water, but the you see the duck very calm. So that is how it should be. So the point still remains is that the entire COVID-19 response of Tata Steel has been digitally supported, right? So the data we had invested in a connected workforce platform over the last 1 year or more than 1 year, which is we are kind of tracking every individual who comes to the workplace, whether it is our contract workforce, whether it is our employees, right? So we have given them a Suraksha card, The Suraksha card is also the goes in the behind of an access card, the RFID card that you need anyway to enter any office premise. The Suraksha card is a we have geofenced the entire company. So whenever you come in into our premises, centrally on the cloud, we know that you have come in. And we have defined
Okay.
zones, that what is the no entry zone, what is a hazardous zone, what is a productive zone, what is unproductive zone, which one is the canteen, which one is the leisure area. We have mapped the entire company that way. So we know that, okay, when the people are moving, we know if somebody falls, we'll be able to put an intervention. If somebody is falling sick and calling the SOS button, we can immediately send an emergency response team. And so we are able to, we are using it for safety and security, right? And also we are becoming more productive because we exactly know that, okay, what is the data that is coming to us. So we are collecting all this data, and then we thought when COVID hit, we immediately thought that we can also repurpose it or reuse it or use it for COVID response. So what we have done, wherever there is a crowd of more than 20 people in a given
Hmm.
area, so I'm
Yes.
immediately saying there is a crowd sitting at home. I mean, on my mobile, I know
Yeah.
there is a crowd, and immediately there is a PA announcement or emergency response team and going and saying that, okay, keep social distance. All our cameras that we are invested in are continuously sending me the images, and from those images, I am maintaining the social distance of 6 feet. If people are not within 6 feet, I can see the image. Two people have crossed that distance and violated that social distance norm, and we are sending an intervention. Either a digital intervention, immediately an SMS goes or an email goes or an alert goes, or a PA system announcement happens, or an emergency response person goes and says maintain distance, right? Canteen, when people are coming very close to each other to eat, we have created a token system that only so many people can come, okay, at a given point in time. The whole thing is the IT system working, and you can only sit with this distance. Otherwise, we are, so that is also entire thing. Social distance, face mask. We are looking at who has own a mask and who is not own a mask, and you are immediately then sending the intervention, right? The PPE or the shield that you wear, if you are not wearing, we will know. So that is one set of application. The other application is that the entire company is now paperless in terms of our logistics. So all the challans that the truck drivers used to show, bring in, and that is where the transmission of disease could have happened. So we have made it all
Yeah.
RFID gun, which is reading from a distance, and then just everything is digitally managed. The entire fleet. Okay, so that has become complete paperless. Then the other thing is the contact tracing. So we have created this mandatory travel declaration that am I having symptoms? Have I traveled outside of state? Have I traveled interstate? Am I so all those? Have I met somebody who is COVID positive? We have created those questions. It's mandatory for people to fill that up, and if they don't fill, I will know. If they fill, and if I am filling and I have symptoms and I've come across somebody, immediately I can do the contact tracing because both of us are getting tracked real time. Every 2 seconds, the data goes to the cloud, right? So we are continuously being tracked. So if I come into a distance of less than 6 feet with a COVID patient, I will know. Then I will do the contact tracing and create that and put them onto home quarantine or ask them to take the medical intervention and all that stuff. All this is happening. Containment zones, we automatically know which workforce will not be able to be come to work tomorrow, so that I can plan my production schedule accordingly, my work plan schedule accordingly. Because the containment zone, some people will not be able to come out, so I will lose some workers for the next few days, several days. So all that is digitally managed. This whole connected workforce has given us this advantage. Now, and this we are very proud of this particular intervention because that created enormous value in the organization. Now, coming to the challenges, challenge always has been in IT that, as I said, it is the change management, as Ashwin mentioned, and is how to the adoption of digital. You are used to work in a certain way, used to pick up the phone and give instructions, talk over the phone, do physical meetings, look at an email. But suddenly now you have to go into a system, a Tableau dashboard, and go and look at the MIS and take a decision. Okay, this is where the contact tracing is safe. This is my risk. This is my high risk. This is my medium risk. And you have to run your operations from that simple dashboard on your iPad or your iPhone or your laptop. That change is not easy. That does not come natural, right? And it's a physical industry like steel, where people are more used to actually operate machines, go into the field. IT guys are okay. We are always used to this kind of working with a laptop and a computer and all that. That change is not that easy. Okay, so that change management, the adoption of digital technologies, because we have the technology, we have the investments made. How to make the user use it? That is one aspect. Second is making it very easy to use. That is a challenge the IT folks will have. So our biggest challenge is making it easy, making it like Apple. If you look at an Apple Watch, it is very easy to use. It comes naturally. You don't have to train somebody to use an Apple Watch. It will automatically, you will know. It is intuitive. So if you can make your screens that way, if you can make your systems that way, that it has minimal clicks, it is very intuitive. That is the challenge for IT, right? That is the issue, and
Right.
that we have to keep on working on how to make it easy for the users. So these are the two
Right.
fundamental things, right?
So the same, Mr. Ashwin, I would like to ask you, what's it like Mr. Jayanta explained that what sort of things they are doing in their company using IT. Can you explain something in Symphony? What are you doing? Uh,
Yeah, so like our in our case, we also have taken several steps, like Jayanta has mentioned, that to ensure that how the social distance can be managed, and how we ensure that new norms are to be followed, and also we are also ensuring that the health safety is the first priority while we are on the job. So those aspects we are, and then this is we have also create, like, have gone for a automation or apps or a digital platform to ensure that this is not like it's not like we are recording on some register or all. We also ensure that all these steps we are taking to ensure the highest safety of our employee are digitally enabled. So that we have gone for a couple of initiatives, and it has been implemented before we started our operation. And the second, as his challenges are, like it is always like UI UX in our language. When we say IT, UI UX is like how user friendly you could able to develop. So this is again a challenge, like to make people, to convince people to you adopt that that is going to be a, but yes, now we are finding that people are adopting the change, people are accepting the realities, people are accepting the technology, and they also realize that yeah, this is only the new norms and we have to follow. So it's like this is the way we are also operating. And with all but challenges are always there. Even if there was no COVID, then also the challenge were there in terms of adopting, in terms of implementing any new technology or platforms. But yes, as an organization, when you are committed to adopt the new technology or platform, then it is a question of sometime time only. Sometime it takes little longer time, but then as an organization, if we have committed, we are going to do it, and we are doing it, I mean, that way.
Rightly said, Mr. Ashwin. So at the end, I'll request both of you for closing remarks for 2 minutes each. So I request you, Mr. Jayanta, for your closing remarks for the session.
No, I think it is very interesting and challenging times. We are at an intersection of that. These two shall pass, so as any other crisis. But as I said, we collectively should not let this crisis go waste. We should, because we have no control on what the crisis is going to do for us. The crisis is there. We have to just deal with it, and we have to create the response mechanism in the best way we can. But in my view, we should not go back to the old normal once the crisis is over. We should try to settle down how close to the new normal we can stay, remove the negatives out of it, but keep the positives. As we discussed, there is a lot of cost productivity outcome that is coming out of it, a lot of safety outcome that is coming out of it, a lot of new methods, new innovations that we never thought could happen at a scale is happening. We should stay with it. It has a lot of environmental benefits that we have already experienced. We should not just let it go waste. So we should not just all hit the road and in Mumbai with all the busy traffic just because COVID is over. Then it is wasted in my view. So that is one aspect of it. The whole model should also leverage innovation in training, repurposing, reskilling of people. right? How people can now use this opportunity to learn. There are so many people who never actually worked on an app or a computer earlier. I have seen is now actually become digital, actually because they're using. I have seen in my house also. My wife was never comfortable with a digital interface. Rather she would go to the bank, but now she's extremely comfortable with a digital app, and she's doing all that, right? And anyway, for so many other in the workforce also, I have seen people who have never touched an digital interface is now forced to do so and is happy and comfortable in doing so, right? Things we never thought that can be done in a virtual manner. We are enjoying the virtual this thing. New business models are coming up. Restaurants or possibly the entertainment industry is bringing in new offerings that they can create a virtual environment while you order food from the restaurant and all the stuff. So many things that can happen at a much lower cost at the comfort of your home, and we should let that continue and innovate further on that. The reskilling of the workforce is very important for India because you talked about Atmanirbhar Bharat, that is the topic. I think 2 points I have to offer, 3 points rather, that we should as a country continue to invest heavily in the infrastructure. That is point number one. It's very, very important. Right? Point number two, it's very important to develop the sensor ecosystem because that is going to be the future for the manufacturing sector. If you have to really adopt Industry 4.0, it needs to develop multifold from where it is today, commercially viable as well as sophisticated in technology. And number three is the whole reskilling point that Ashwin also brought out many times, that our workers in the rural sector possibly should be given that connectivity, given that computers, given that ecosystem where they can become little digital workers, if you will, from worker to a digital worker. If it's possible, automation and all that, and they can actually be much more proficient in their work area. I'm seeing people, we used to use consultants from overseas for some of the niche work, right? Today there is no travel internationally. So how is the company still doing? The consultants are seeing the image from either Japan or France or wherever, and they're giving advice over the network because they are seeing the same image as we are seeing, right? So there are opportunities enormous. So if we make investment in infra, if we make investments in sensors, and if we make the investments in retraining the workers, and specifically go into the rural sector, I would underscore, because that is where the underprivileged will now really have to be invested to bring them on board into the digital era, because digital drives democracy in the truest sense. If you have data, you are more powerful because you become equally empowerment. You said so that equality we can drive if we don't let this crisis go wasted. That's my view.
Thank you, Mr. Jayanta. Mr. Ashwin, your closing remarks, please.
Uh, so, see, as Jayanta has covered most of the stuff, but what I always wanted to tell that this is an opportunity to be, used for its fullest. And what we should do is uh, it's more like if important of getting the data, analyzing the data, and taking the decision. So as I would say that typically what will happen when you have such crisis and all, uh, the innovation or invention will come up. So let's say today we are another, like today we are talking of health card. Government is talking of issuing health card. Now once this health card will is issued and it is available with us, huge amount of data is available. Now those data need to be churned, and it is very very important to take the right decision using that data. The second, also very important, is that when normally when you travel other than India, anywhere in abroad, and mainly the Europe countries, you will find more and more automation. So if you travel to Europe or maybe US, all those countries, you will find that mm, automation is a key. So so what the same way we also have to think that how we can start adopting more and more automation and reusing the current labor to for better job. I am that there the question comes like multitasking. The same person can be given a better better infra, better way of working. So he can maybe today he's operating one machine, tomorrow he can operate two machine or three CNC machine. Today he is using one conventional machine, adopting two to three CNC machine. He can use a three CNC machine. So idea is that digital transformation is not going to snatch anyone's job. It is going to be do the betterment also. And third will be, as we are talking, like this is the time people also started thinking of more and more startups, more and more new ideas will come up. Those ideas will be connected. So more startups are coming to during this time. So there also it is very important that we encourage those startups and make sure that it improve the economy as well as also the better life. And mainly, but when you talks of better life, it is a I'm talking of tier 2 city or tier 3 city or the villages, because until our villages are not having or digitized or technology, this is not going to happen. Only the tier one city having all infra, automation, digitize or sensor won't happen to help. So we have to go to like how we can connect those gram panchayat is the one idea. How we are digitally connect the gram panchayat. How the virtual meetings, Jilla panchayat will happen with gram panchayat. How the state will have a virtual meetings with Jilla and gram panchayat. When we reach to that stage of techno, then it is a real utilization of this digital transformation. Then we could able to utilize this crisis, I would say.
Thank you, Mr. Ashwin. So it was a wonderful interaction with both of you, and I think after the discussion, we come to the consensus that yes, in this Atmanirbhar Bharat era, the manufacturing industry will reshape itself with digital transformation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jayanta. Thanks,
Thanks for it.
Kartik.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.